Good morning and welcome to class. My name is John Odom. As we begin class this morning, you may want to have a block or two for you. And as we start class this morning, I would like to invite you to join me in a standing position with your feet hip-width distance apart, your toes pointing straight forward. I'd like to invite you to stand in your mountain pose, rolling your shoulders onto your back. And if you feel comfortable, please feel free to close your eyes for just a moment. I'd like to invite you to lift your toes up off the mat and place first your heel, your pinky mound, and then your big toe mound down, and let your toes fall in between. As you stand here in your mountain pose, I'd like you to put everything outside this room, and I'd like you to begin to connect with your breath. Breathing in and exhaling. And as you connect with your breath this day, I would like for you to thank yourself for coming to class today, where we will be working on our flexibility, on our strength, and on our balance. And now I would like to invite you to let your eyes flutter open if you have them closed. And again, find yourself in mountain pose, feeling your feet rooting down into the floor, your legs all the way up your spine, making it tall, and feeling that energy running all the way up and down your spine from the top crown of your head all the way down into your feet. And as we continue this morning, I would like to invite you to join me in some sun breaths. So please let your arms raise up over your head, keeping your shoulders relaxed, and letting your hands come together over the top of your head, coming down through prayer pose. As you inhale, raise your arms up. Exhaling down into prayer pose. And we will repeat this movement for 3 more breaths. And now, with everyone meeting with our hands in prayer position, I would like to invite you to come to the top of your mats. And we will continue with raising our arms up over our head as we inhale. As we exhale, we will let our hands come down through heart center and all the way down as we fold over into forward fold. And then as we inhale, we will come up halfway with a flat back, exhaling back into the fold, and then putting a hand over each knee and raising ourselves up back as we inhale into standing position. Inhale, hands up overhead, meeting over the top, exhaling down through heart center and back again into forward fold. Inhaling up halfway, releasing back into the fold, hands over each knee, and with straight back, lifting back up to standing. Now, if you could turn facing the side of your mat, joining in the center of your mat, and then if you would like to step or hop your feet apart so that your ankles are roughly underneath your wrists, would like to invite you to turn your right toes towards facing the top of your mat, back of your mat, and your left toes turning where they face towards the corner, that corner of your mat. We will be going into triangle pose, and you may want to have your block with you. Place it down next to the outside edge of your foot. And now I invite you, as you exhale, to tip your hip back and to rotate over, making sure that your hips and your shoulder are in alignment, like you're being pressed against a wall between two sheets of glass. And make sure that your arm is raised directly above, your hand below, and you can rest it on a block or your leg or the floor, whatever is accessible to you. If you find yourself in this pose, I invite you to connect with your breath and continue to let your ribs feel like they are moving up towards the ceiling. Your head can either be in a forward position, or if it's accessible, you can turn your head to where it's looking up towards your upraised thumb. And we'll hold this position for 3 more breaths. Now rise up out of this position. And I would like to invite you to return back to mountain pose in the middle of your mats. And we will do the same thing on the opposite side. So you may want to move your block if you're using one. Again, step or hop your feet apart. Turn your left toes towards facing the top of your mat, and your right toes towards the right corner, top corner of your mat. Tipping forward as you push your hips backward and rotating over with your hand landing next to your calf or thigh, resting on a block or wherever is accessible for your body today, and raising your hand up towards the sky. Triangle pose, again, making sure that the back of your head, back of your shoulders, and back of your hips are in alignment, as if they were all resting on a wall. Connect now with your breath, and continue to hold this position for 3 more breaths. I invite you to raise back up and come back to standing in the middle of your mat. Again, step or hop your legs wide. Turn your right toes towards the back of your mat and your left toes towards the back corner of your mat. Bending your front knee into Warrior 2. Hold this position as you connect with your breath for 2 more breaths. Now I invite you to feel like someone is pulling on your right hand forward as you lean over, bending your right arm and placing at the elbow and placing your elbow on your right bent knee as you windmill your left arm around and up and over your left ear, coming into side angle. And feeling the energy going all the way from the outside edge of your left foot through your side body, all the way up your arm and out your fingertips. Connect with your breath for 3 breaths. Now windmill your arm back around as you stand up, coming back in briefly into Warrior 2, straightening your front leg and bringing your legs together back in the center of the mat at mountain pose. And now we'll do the same thing on the opposite side, stepping or hopping your legs apart, turning your left foot now towards the top of your mat. Your right foot toes are pointing towards the corner of your mat and bending your front knee into Warrior 2. We'll hold this position briefly. And now I invite you to feel as if someone is pulling on your left wrist forward as you bend at the elbow and bring it down to the top of your bent knee, resting it lightly and windmilling your right hand around, up and over your right ear, extending out through the fingertips, feeling the energy extending all the way from the outside edge of your right foot that is on the ground, all the way up your right side body, extending through your right arm and out through your fingertips. Making sure not to dump all of your weight into your left elbow on your knee, but pressing equally up from your knee and down from your elbow so that your elbow is resting lightly. I invite you to connect with your breath. I'm going to hold this position for 3 more breaths. Now windmill your right arm back, raising up into Warrior 2 briefly. And now I invite you to return back to the center of your mat to mountain pose by stepping or hopping your feet together. And one last time, I invite you to step or hop your feet apart, feet parallel, placing your hands not on your waist, but on the crease at the top of your thigh, where your thigh comes into your hips. And now we will bend forward with a straight back into wide-legged forward fold. I invite you to place your hands, fingertips on the ground, or to keep your hands up at your leg crease. Continue to return to your breath. Make sure that your back is parallel to the ground now. I invite you to place your fingers, if they can reach, or if not, bring a block. And put your right hand directly in front of your face. And now I invite you to twist towards your left, raising your left hand up to the sky. and hold there for several breaths. Now release back your left hand down to the block, or the ground, placing your left hand in front of your face and sweeping your right hand up as we twist to the right. Holding again for several breaths. Now I invite you to release your hand back to your block. Come up halfway where your back is parallel to the ground. Place your hands on your top of your leg crease, and with a flat back, raise yourself up slowly and carefully to standing. Now I would invite you to heel toe your feet together, as we will be going into a yogi squat. Keep your feet about hip width apart, and you will be squatting down in between your knees. Your elbows should come in between your knees, and if you need the support of a block, you can place it under your sits bones if that is comfortable, or you can place the block in front of you to have your hands come on it. The important thing is to have your elbows inside your hips if that's possible, with your elbows pressing against your knees, the inside of your knees, and your knees pressing against your elbows. And we'll hold this position for 3 breaths. And now if you're using a block, please remove it, and you can put your hand in front of you and behind you and go ahead and sit down on your mat. Turn yourself around and lay back on your mat. I invite you to bring your knees up towards your chest and wrap your arms around your shins or the backs of your thighs, and squeezing your legs, bent legs, into your chest. You may want to rock back and forth for just a minute as you feel all the tension sliding out of your lower back. And now I would like to invite you to make any final moves as we move towards our Shavasana. Rolling your shoulders, if you like, up underneath your back. Your arms out to the side with palms facing up or down. Allow your legs to be wide as a mat and to fall open. And let yourself relax. You can close your eyes. As you breathe in, imagine that your body is raising up like a parachute on an elementary school playground that you played with as a kid. The parachute goes up, and as you inhale and you feel your body rising, and then as you exhale, you see the parachute coming back down, and you feel your body melting into the floor. Again, rising with your breath and falling and melting back into the floor. One more time, rising, falling back into the floor. I invite you now to wiggle your fingers and your toes as you connect back to yourself. Roll over. Did your legs rolling over onto one side and cradling your head on your arm. And then pushing yourself back up into a seated position. If you had your eyes closed, I'd like to invite you to let them flutter open and bring your hands into prayer position. And I thank you for joining me for this class today. May your yoga follow you off the mat.